Welcome to In the Zone. I'm Craig Zimmerman, and in today's number 33 of In the Zone, we went all the way down south to the swamp
Yes.
to get John Highstreet. Welcome, John.
It's so good to be here.
Yeah,
it
so
is.
It's as I talked before. There's no secret questions. There's no worry about trick questions or asking something you don't know. So we'll talk about you, John Highstreet, being born back in the 50s, right?
1957.
Okay.
Yes.
Down in Algonac.
Yep.
And we know your family history goes way back.
Way back.
So give us the...
Well, my great-grandfather and his cousin came in 1880. And so, been in Algonac. And ever since then, there's been Highstreets and Algonac Highstreets going to...
Back to the 1800s.
Yes. And I even looked at some things. There's from the first basketball team, was a Highstreet was a captain. And my dad had, he was a great football player.
So your father was who?
George Highstreet.
Okay, yep.
They're the ones that, started that Truman Pipple streak.
Okay.
And, still hold the record for best defense because only one team scored on them all year, and so.
One team?
One team, St. Clair. On a fluke.
Basketball?
No, this is football.
Okay.
Football. So they shut out everybody on a fluke touchdown by St. Clair. My dad, he said we all felt, cried because that was the only score on them. But, through not only my immediate family, my dad, my older brother, myself, my younger brother, all played sports, graduated from Algonac, as all my children graduated from Algonac, plus countless cousins, and so a lot of Highstreets through Algonac through the years.
That's a long way back.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Well, longer than most people that I would talk to, Yeah. So you went to Algonac High School and graduated in 75.
1975.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So from Algonac High School after graduation, what did John Highstreet do?
I went to Michigan Christian, which is now Rochester University, and played basketball there.
Which is just west of Rochester Road and what?
On
Avon?
Avon,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about that experience.
Oh, it was, I always thought I wanted to play football. Was the big thing, and got hurt going into it was a practice before our third game, and blew my knee out. And so I always loved basketball too, so I got a scholarship to go to Michigan Christian. It was great. It was a great experience.
So back then, we'll go back a ways. So that was 1976, 77, those years.
Yes.
Rochester Hills was quite the sleepy place back
yes.
then.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, city of Rochester was really nothing there, not like it is today.
So did you live over there?
Yeah, well, I lived on campus.
Okay.
So right there.
Who did that college play in? Give me some names of some
We
colleges.
played out of Grand Rapids Baptist, Grand Rapids School of Bible Music. We played Concordia.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
Which is Ann Arbor.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe somebody out of Flint.
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We'd go down to Fort Wayne. We'd go into West Virginia.
Okay.
Play those areas.
So how many years did you play there?
3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Still keep in contact with a few former teammates?
A couple. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which usually happens from time to time. So give me a little history on your siblings.
Okay, well, again, my older brother played. He was a real good basketball player for Algonac. And
what's his name?
Steve.
Now, is Steve the one that lives on River Road and has a Henry sign on his garage?
No.
Okay.
No, okay. My older brother passed away in 2001.
Okay.
That's my cousin, my first cousin, Kevin. He was a real good football player.
Okay.
But he blew his knee out just back then. ACLs and stuff, you were done unless
there was no surgery.
Yeah. If they did, it was like zipper cut, and So yeah, he's the one with the Henry sign. Yes.
So if people don't know what we're talking about, right, just about across the street from Toits.
Yes.
Which used to be Wayland's.
Yes.
Cement mix plant. There's a garage there with the old Henry sign on the garage.
Yes.
I knew it had to be. I knew it was a relative of yours. So
yes. Yeah. Yes. That's
it's right off the restaurant.
Oh yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. He was helping historical society, and it was stashed up somewhere. Hey, what do you want? And
I'll take it.
He said, "I'll take that," and he displays it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And then my younger brother, Scott.
Okay.
He played basketball too, and
okay.
they had some good teams his junior, senior year, but his senior they won the league. And
okay. What year would he graduate?
He graduated in '79.
Okay.
And it was I think them and I don't know who tied her.
Okay.
But I know.
Any sisters?
No sisters.
Okay, no sisters.
No. But my claim to fame, you know, I played football. By senior year I played baseball, but my claim to fame in basketball is our district game against Marine City, where we lost 14-12.
I remember the game. Let me guess. That was the district game up in Port Huron Northern
Yes.
at their gym.
Yes.
And it was the big old stall.
Yes.
Now, I can't remember to go back, because you played in it. Was Algonac stalling or Marine City stalling?
We were stalling.
Okay, yeah.
And the reason, because Marine City was
Jim
rated.
Bradshaw.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Courier, Carpenter, you know, those guys, you know, and we played, I remember our first time we played them at our place, they were undefeated and we had one loss, and the place was just packed, and they just blew us out the gym. And then when we played them close to the end of the season at Marine City, our first quarter, first quarter, we scored like 28 points on them, and I think we scored maybe 10 points the rest of the game. And they beat us.
So who was your coach back then?
That was Greg Duva.
So going into that district game, tell me about the preparation for a slow-down game.
Yeah, because they played this, they were huge.
Up-tempo.
Well, yeah, and you know, so they played a zone. We figured if we could do anything, maybe we can get them out of a zone. But if not, we're going to hang on to it, and it worked. You have to be patient. You have to believe in it. We all did, and all of a sudden, when Marine City had ball, they stalled a little bit because they didn't know, you know.
What's going on.
Yeah, and so yeah.
I remember that. That qualifies for me to be one of those things where I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but I can remember back. That was 1975.
Yes.
And I can remember, and that was I'll call it newish gym up there. I
Yes.
remember it was the first couple years of Northern being open or something like that.
Oh yeah, we were getting yelled at during that whole game. It was
Sort
crazy.
of a four-corner.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just work and hang on. And for a time, we just put the ball in the hip, and you know, they won, and we thought we were going to go into overtime. We had a shot.
And if you back up and you look at it, that was successful.
Oh.
Because you had a shot to win it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you go? I actually tipped it in, but it was after the buzzer. But we couldn't even hear it. It was so loud in there.
Wow.
Yeah. It was. That's our big.
Now, how was that to spend the week of doing that type, preparing that? It had to be different.
Oh, it was, and it was like I said. You know, it's discipline.
Sure.
And a belief in this is okay. First we're going, oh, come on.
Right.
And you can see it did mess up Marine City a little bit, because the next game Richmond did the same thing. It wasn't so low scoring, and Marine City pulled out a close one.
Okay.
And in the district finals, they played Marysville, and Marysville got on their horses and ran like nobody's business and blew Marine City.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
So here's the team raiding the state, and we slow down, and somebody said, "Hey, we're going to play that game."
Okay.
So
Very
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
So you go to Rochester College.
Yes.
Tell me what your major was.
My major was always secondary ed.
Okay.
Always wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
As long as I can remember. I always wanted to teach, I always wanted to coach, and so it's something I always wanted to do. And even back then, I remember, and I tell this story a lot, is when you're claiming your major, I'm sitting in front of a counselor that, okay, we're going to help you set it up. And I never met this woman before, and I told this is what I want to do. You know, I love history or PE and want to coach and all that. And she looked at me and said, "Oh, you don't want to go into teaching."
Really?
And I went, "How long have we known each other?"
Right.
You know, so, well, we just met. Okay, I've wanted to do this as long as I can remember. So if you don't mind, can I get another counselor, please? And
is that right?
yeah. So
well, and that doesn't happen very often, because a lot of people that I ask that question, at 16, at 18, at 21, you're not sure what you want to do, but if you wanted to do that.
yeah, and I did.
Yeah.
And I did, and loved it.
So then you met this country girl
Yes, I did.
from back in Cotterville Township.
Yes, I did.
Tell us about that.
You know, it's a good, dairy farmers forever.
Yeah.
And I was in Florida at the time and wasn't teaching, and I was working in Parks and Recs, and my mom called me to come home for Thanksgiving because she was working for Council on Aging, and she got an extra ticket for a Hawaiian cruise and asked me, "Hey, would you want to go?" Yes, I would like to go on this cruise. So I think I flew in on a Wednesday, play ball with the boys, Thanksgiving, and then Saturday we were leaving for the cruise. But Friday, I'm asking the night boys, and somebody said, "Hey,
What's going on?"
Yeah, what do you do?" Nautical was the hot spot back in the day.
Yeah,
And so I remember walking in Nautical, and
that's where you met Brenda.
that's where I remember walking in Point, and I go, "Who is that?" And
What year
love
would that
ever
have been?
since.
Like mid-'80s?
it was 85, I think.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you met Brenda. Then you went back to Florida, correct?
Yes, I got a teaching job, coaching job in Fort Lauderdale Plantation.
Okay.
Huge school, and I coached the girls varsity, and
How many years did you stay down there?
13.
Okay. Okay.
And then I got a call and everything was going good. Even that year that I got the call to come to Algonac, I had a great girls team that year. And
How did that call? Where did that come about?
Bob Ennie was the athletic director.
Okay.
And he was the coach and athletic director.
Sure.
But he said, I can't keep doing it.
Can't
But
do both,
and he said, I want to make sure I want the program. I want somebody to really continue to run this program. And so it was a tough decision. It wasn't like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Things were going great. But I did like the idea of coming back.
Sure. What would that have been, in the early 90s?
It was 99.
Okay, 99.
So
okay.
Jacob, my oldest, was going into 7th grade.
Because your girls were little, I remember.
Yeah, because Heidi was going to 1st grade and Jacqueline
Okay.
was going into 3rd grade when we came back.
So it's a good time to move it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It was going to be there or not. You don't want them in a high school,
Right.
and then it gets a little difficult.
Right.
So it was a smooth move, and I think
Okay.
bringing them to a small town
Yeah.
benefited them.
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale, it's rough.
Right. So you come back in 99 and give us the hierarchy of age and names of all four.
Of
Three.
Three.
Children.
So, the hierarchy is Jacob, who
Yep.
is now 35. Jacqueline is 31, and Heidi is 29.
Okay.
And my Jacqueline just got married May 13th,
Okay.
which was her husband is unbelievable. And I got to do the marriage.
Oh, okay.
So it was rough.
I was going to say, how did that go?
It was rough, because I'm trying not
Right,
to
you're-
cry. Yeah, it's emotional, and I walk her down the aisle, and the fun part was I got to the podium, and then I said, okay, who gives this girl to be married to this man? So I had to go back down and give her away and go back up. But it was a perfect day for my
Yeah, that adds a lot of pressure.
yes.
A lot of pressure.
But everything went so well.
That's good. I
Yeah.
can't imagine coaching high school basketball had as much pressure as that day had.
Yeah. It was
Nothing compared to that.
nothing, because you want for your
Yeah.
kids to have everything.
Yep.
Just
And you've got
Right.
one grandchild.
one grandchild. Jacob's got a son, Noah, who's going to be 10 soon.
Okay.
So,
And then, so were you drafted to do, so the next wedding comes up, are you going to have to do that one too?
oh yeah, my girl, I'm gonna say they know who's going to do it. Yeah, that's just
Okay.
part of it.
So you come back to Algonac and you start with boys basketball?
Yes.
Okay.
hmm
Explain that.
Well, as I said, Bob Ennie, who was the boys varsity coach, they come in. He said, I want to know that you're going to be. He'd fit that way.
Yes.
My first year was JV, and then the next year
Yeah.
I was with
Take
the
the
boys.
kids and take
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
How many years did you do that?
That was right to the end. So I think
14,
yeah,
15, something like
yeah,
that?
mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
And you helped with girls?
Always helped with girls. Yeah, for a while there, I coached girls JV, and then back when girls was a fall sport, I would work with, it was Al the Toast,
Yep.
and then, Dan Matska, who was, him and I have been coaching together forever.
You had black hair back then.
Yeah. and then when I was with the boys, he'd be my assistant. So I'd be his assistant during girls, and he'd be my assistant. That's how we did it. And then when they moved him to the same sport, it got a little trickier. We still
Right.
did it, but it made long days.
Okay.
So
So one of the questions here I have, when did you decide to be a coach and teacher? We already crossed that
yeah,
one.
yes,
That one's
we
easy.
crossed that bridge.
So you got to settle something for me.
Okay.
When you know somebody with the last name of Cates, K-A-A-T-Z, which is your wife's maiden name.
Yes.
Us Marine City people that grew up with the Cateses, we call them Cateses, but if you're from Algonac, a lot of them call them Cots.
Cots. And that was like when I met her, and she told me her last name, and she said, Brenda Cates, and I went, how do you spell that? Is it K-A-A-T-Z? She goes, yeah. Well, so
What about
yeah, where I'm
Uncle?
from? Yeah, and I name, I know
Yeah.
this person. Oh, that's my cousin, or that's. I'm going, okay. You just say it different, and we've had people tried to tell me, well, I thought they called this. Well, wait a minute, I married one, so
So like if you're from Algonac, it's Cots.
yes,
And if you're from Marine City or Cotterville, it's Cates.
Kate's, yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
Give me an idea of who your mentors would have been, say, in coaching.
That's a great question. I look back, and Mr. Garrett for football, just a good Christian man, strong in his beliefs and faith, and just he worked you, and he was fair.
Sure.
So that was great. I thought Greg Duva, came in and he worked us hard, but again,
You respect what the foundation.
Yeah, exactly. So you pick up those things from them. And then when I was playing college basketball, the coach there was a minister at the Rochester Church of Christ.
Okay.
And it didn't make him any better than that. And so those were, and then actually another coach I had was a guy I played with my freshman year, he was a senior, ended up being the coach,
Okay.
and he was a good guy, so.
Okay. Any defining moments along all those years of coaching?
Such as
Division championships,
Yeah.
a league championship, maybe a year that you won a district title or something like
well,
that.
my first teaching job when I left college, so that was 1980, I graduated college. My second year I was teaching at a private school in Miami, just a little, and so the first year, we got a pretty good team, but I didn't know who to schedule. I'm
Right,
thinking,
'cause you're new.
New, so we're in Florida. It's 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A. So we're a little 1A school. So I'm playing these little 1A schools because you're in a small school. I taught everything in the social studies department. I was the head coach, drove the bus, make the schedule.
Right.
That's what you do there.
Right.
And so I'm scheduling, and we're blowing teams out left and right. And we get into district. We ran a couple of teams. We lost in districts.
Okay.
I said, well, we're not going to do that again. So the next year we're playing 2 and 3A
2 and
school,
3s.
and we lost in the state semifinals.
Okay.
So that was the highlight as far as that. My last year at Plantation, we lost in the regional finals.
Okay.
And I like how they do it in Florida anyways. I wish Michigan would do this, is that in the district finals, whatever happens, both teams go on. And the reason for that is there's sometimes in one district you got maybe the number 1 team in the state,
Oh.
number 3 team, and
Yes.
in this district over here, they
There's
might
nobody in
have
it.
nobody. They got all
Right.
losing
Yes.
records, and you just go in different brackets.
Oh,
And
okay.
and I know, my last 3 years, 4 years they did it. I know twice
They came out of that.
in men in the state finals.
Okay.
So
Well, I just had that discussion about football recently. Not so much of here, but if you talk about football and talk about Macomb County football, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You got Chippewa Valley, you got Dakota, you got Eisenhower, all these schools, and gosh darn it, one team makes it out of that bracket, and that's it?
that's it.
It's like,
Yeah.
that's tough.
That is tough.
Yeah.
That is tough. So I always thought that was a.
Now, I'm sure that in general you go to like coaches clinics and
Yes.
MHSAA type meetings. Has that ever been discussed to do that?
No.
Okay.
We can. I know in Florida we used to go to a lot of the Nike clinics and do those, and they always had to have top name coaches, college coaches,
Sure.
and stuff like that. There's right now, so many things online.
Right.
And
Right.
so you pull up things what you're looking for and what you want to do, and so if you need something, it's there.
Right.
So.
It seems like that's a subject it's a heavier subject in certain areas, in certain sports where, like you say, 2 good teams in an area, you hate to see one beat.
Yes.
Like I said, football in Macomb County is sort of crazy. I mean, a Romeo team might go, 6-3, win the district, and beat a Chippewa Valley in the last second, and you go, oh, glad we got rid of Chippewa Valley.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
We're
Exactly.
going to face them again.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's sort of how it is in a myriad of sports scenarios like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, an interesting one recently was Richmond Softball, I don't know if it was this year or last year, that was down to their last out and came back and won it, I think.
Yeah, because
and ended
Richmond, yeah,
up- And went to the finals after that or something.
yeah, won the, I think they won the states,
Yeah.
not the, but in like it.
Now, this is unrelated to, say, our discussion, but we've seen a resurgence in Algonac softball the last 2 years. Mr. Perkins coming out of Anchor Bay,
Yes.
who coached there a number of years.
Well, he was coaching when I
When
was
you
in
were there?
school.
Okay. And so they had a heck of a run this year.
Yes, they did.
You probably knew a handful of the girls on that team.
Oh my goodness, yes. A lot of them played basketball. This senior group was girls was a really good group of girls. In all sports, and they were not just great athletes, but they were just great girls. They're the one's president of student council, one's president of AHS, one's they were the core, and so it was good to see them have this kind of success when the year Richmond won the state
Right.
the year before. they lost to Richmond in district finals right there in the last, so it was a tight game even there, but.
And that's another game like that. Exactly.
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, a surprising thing that I noticed this spring watching a Marine City Algonac softball game, and you hate to pick out names specifically, but I'll say this is a positive scenario. I expected Ella Stevenson to be this girl with big old forearms. This girl's like 5'9", thin as a rail, and she's hitting bombs.
She hits bombs, yes. And what a great girl.
Yeah.
She's the one that I wish a lot of girls would look at, because the problem coaching, you see a lot of people want to specialize.
Right. She plays every sport.
Yeah, and she's going to University of Michigan.
Yeah.
And to play softball.
Yeah.
But what's she doing? She plays volleyball. She plays basketball. And she does it. And that's, and you want to see that, and you try to explain that sometimes, because I knew my girls were going to go, but they played, Heidi played 4 sports.
Right.
Just because you want to do that for your school.
Activity
and friends and all that stuff. And so, that's why, I look at an Ella, and she gets it.
And if everybody could follow and
Yes.
understand that, that's a good thing.
And there's several girls that have done that. And that group, that senior group that graduated, they were volleyball, basketball, softball, or soccer. And there's a core group that does that we still have doing that they're playing.
From all indications, that team should feel a pretty good team coming back next year.
Yes.
Yeah, the way it looks.
Mm-hmm. And basketball too, we got a good. It's just number game now.
Right.
Are we going to have 9, 10? That's tough.
Well, that's the thing that another subject. When you look at on paper, like when you got back to town, say in '99. Algonac schools were probably in the 700s, mid 7s,
yes,
maybe even high 7s.
Yes,
and now it's down to 480, something like that.
I look at like whatever they graduated this year, 100.
Right.
Which is, I graduated in '75, and we had 212.
And
it's just crazy.
It is crazy
that.
to think how that. And East China's the same with St. Clair Marine City. And the ones that tend to be growing a little bit is Marysville. And there's some scenarios that you look at and you go, why? Well, number one, they're right off the freeway, which helps.
Yes.
Marine City and Algonac are 12 and 15 miles off the freeway,
yes.
that type of thing. Marysville probably picks up some students because of their proximity to Port Huron.
Yes.
And so there's some little idiosyncrasies that you're never going to change.
No.
You can't drive too far east of Marine City and Algonac.
No, you can't, unless you want to get wet.
Yeah, exactly. So. Interesting finding these different dichotomies, though, in small communities. I always find it interesting and all positive to play against your teams, or coming from Marine City playing a St. Clair team or a Marysville team. It's always positive seeing people that you know and having consistency.
Oh, that was growing up. That's what you did. Of course, Marine City was always our rival.
Yeah.
But but you knew the kids who were on the St. Clair team and the Marysville team, because you played them in 7th grade, 8th grade, and all through.
Well, and then the other thing that a lot of people don't really look at is, say, after the graduation Saturday or Sunday, the kids go on and do other things, and pretty soon the 18-year-old Algonac kid's hanging around with the Marine City kid, and the St. Clair kid, and the Marysville kid. So.
Or you marry one.
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
Yes.
Well, it's nice reminiscing here with you. I've got one more thing to ask. So you retired how many years ago from teaching?
I'm starting my 6th year preaching at the Algonac Church of Christ.
Okay.
And something that I never thought was going to happen.
That was my next question. So you decided to retire from teaching at a certain point.
Well, I thought I was going to go to another so many years, 62, collect Social Security, get my pension, and fade out into the sunset.
Right.
And I was always an elder at the church and stuff, and we're going through ministers and stuff, and I did a lot at the church. And one board meeting, they just looked at me, will you take this job? And I went, whoa, I got to pray on this one.
Yeah.
And God works in such wonderful ways. Everything just fell into place.
Sure.
So,
right time, right place.
Right time, God's timing is impeccable. And a great move.
Sure.
I love what I do. It's such a great congregation. It just...
So it probably doesn't feel like work to you.
No, it does not. And it's like people, man, you're all going, go. But you know what? You're doing God's way.
It's just what you do.
It's what you do. Exactly. Exactly.
Now that's got to be a pretty good feeling from a guy that knew early on that he wanted to teach.
Yes.
So can I put your name in that box that a person that says I never had to work a day in my life?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
There's not many people that can say that.
You're right. I loved teaching. I love being around these kids. I mean, there's always the hassles of administrate. You know, you got to do this. Well, now I love my boss now.
Right. Right.
You know, but that never played that big role. Teaching these kids in classroom, I love coaching these kids and seeing the bigger picture. Yeah, everybody wants to win championships, but to teach character. To make sure these kids, you know, understand, and that's why sports are so important. It's not the you know, everybody wants to win, but are we teaching them something, you know, how to be a team player, how to handle adversity, how to do these things, and so that was, and for some of these kids, just to, I think my success as a teacher is that these kids knew I cared.
Sure. It's camaraderie.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I mentioned to you earlier before we started, I had the conversation with Chief Heslop from Marine City Police Department, and I mentioned to him, I said, isn't it really the big scenario here is not just the wins and losses, but treating these kids with respect and have them grow up with respect, so they don't have to deal with a police chief on the negative side.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sort of the positive thing.
And that's the positive thing. And then even coming back here to coach was, I think that's the important part is, you know, the heritage, you know people that have been here, and you know, like I said, on my father's side, you know, same with my mom. You know, she's a Rose. Okay. You know, there's been a Roses, you know, in Anchorville since the 1700s. You know, and another graduate from Algonac.
Now, is she a Rose family from the marina? Bill Rose?
Yeah, something distant, or so they're all tied in there. But you know, like I said, she's graduated with my dad, and that's where they met in high school, their senior year. So it all, you know, my mom's family, my dad's. This is.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is you can walk down the street, you can go to different things, and you know, there's Coach Highstreet, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. My kids won't go to, even when they were younger, they wouldn't go to the store with me.
Right. He was going to take an hour.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we covered it all. Congratulations on the career you're in.
Yes, thank you.
Good luck with that. We'll see you on the sidelines of a basketball, a football, or what a game.
You know, I see you. You know, I'm going to be there. Yeah. So
thank you.
Thank you so much. Enjoyed this.
If you have anybody like John Highstreet here that you think that I should interview, phone number is 586-707-5811. It's on your screen. John was recommended by his nephew, so we'll blame him.
I'll blame Jeremy.
There you go. Thank you.